And now we'll move into what we are considering the outer expression, which is really putting it into action. Now we talked about ourselves, about how we work, but what do we do with the outer expression? So from the inside out, faith is never meant to remain hidden. In this segment, we'll look at how the inner life overflows into expression, turning belief into action and personal conviction into a lived testimony. This is where love becomes visible. Take
I
it
like
away.
that.
Take it away.
Love becoming visible. Love is so easy for me. I love. And so it's interesting to have it be such a natural way of my existence and be able also to lift people up with my generous love, as well as learn how to discern when it's appropriate, how much is appropriate in that moment.
Yeah.
Because I've had to learn how to not be taken advantage of in my life because I'm so loving and generous. And once again, that steel on steel refinement of the higher consciousness of how I move through the world. And I was thinking about as we transition through this inner to the outer, is this language piece. As you mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated with the art of universal language.
Yeah.
And to me, that means that just like religion is a personal experience, our language is a personal experience. So in reality, the way I see it is the over 8 billion people on the planet right now. I think we just passed the 8 billion mark. Every single one of them, every single one of us has our own unique language.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that stereotyping can get a little tricky, because you may be able to see certain conditions and characteristics about that person, yet to not cast a judgment
Yeah.
because you really don't know. So the key is setting this intention within yourself to have this openness and willingness to see everything about that one individual in front of you and learn how to communicate with that person. And so
Yeah.
it is definitely for me an art. And I think one of the best ways that I started to learn this was being a waiter, caterer,
Yes.
a
Yes.
bartender,
As I
all
have
of
as a salesman, I mean, all these
yeah.
the people careers or positions where you interact with a lot of people give you this. Yeah, definitely.
And since I've started really thinking about that and hearing other mentors say that we're all salesmen, we're all selling ourselves. And as we're in that dialogue with another human, keeping our intention of authentic integrity and alignment for receiving things that are deeper listening than what that person is actually saying. And this art of universal language also encompasses way beyond words, right? It's everything
That's what
from
I wanted
body
to ask you.
language.
What is
Yeah.
beyond words? Very
Yes,
important.
it is. Thanks for asking that. So first, I would say energetic frequency.
Okay.
What hertz basically are me running at? And that is in a direct relationship to the integrity that you say you have with
Mm-hmm.
the values that you're attempting to embody.
Definitely.
So energetic frequency, body language, tone of voice, um, your thoughts, that alone. So that relates to the inner dialogue. How your listening skills. Are you thinking about what you're gonna say
Yeah.
when they take a break and what they're saying? Or are you really receiving it and taking it in, and there's a pause in between the people speaking so that that the reconciling force, that third force can be the guiding light between those two people. So this art of universal language when you're moving into a crowd,
Mm-hmm.
now that's a whole different story. You have to really take your awareness field to a much broader
Yeah.
audience, and it generally stays more general unless
That's specific,
you,
right? It gets more,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
as there's more
yeah,
people.
definitely.
And yet when you become a master at, say, reading the room, reading energetic frequency, master speakers can manipulate that to a win.
Definitely. I mean, how
Yeah.
many just, I mean, just stand there and you just in awe, right? I mean, it's very important. And I mean, continue, but I want you, but once we finish that, I wanted you to give me a list because I want our audience to take note of all these, because I think this is something that they have to, be aware of what you're saying, because this is very important. I mean, this is something that you've developed and you've been working most of your life in. So I think this
Mhm.
is, the something they can take home.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like I want to tell a little story about
Please.
how this
Please,
has
please.
become such an important thing that now I've developed it through the School of Service. If you want to know more about that, let me
Yes, and
know.
and well, yeah. Well, at the end, we're gonna tell us all about the School of Service. But yes,
Yeah. So, as a child of an interfaith, three lineages who caretook me, all interfaith, everything from Greek Orthodox,
mm-hmm,
Catholic, the Urantia Book, Buddhism, um, atheism,
mm-hmm,
agnosticism. We
mm-hmm.
had it all
A
in
buffet.
this. It was really beautiful, and some of them, as you could probably imagine, some of those traditional religions, they were more wanting me to make sure that I went with their religion.
mm-hmm.
And then there were other family members, caretakers, who really advocated for me exploring and
Okay.
investigating,
Mm-hmm.
and your path is your own.
Yeah.
Your religion is what you create with your creator. And then moving around a lot. I moved, gosh, we started moving, uh, you don't need to know the circumstances yet, from about
Yeah.
8 years old, and traveled since I was an infant,
Yeah.
and then moved around a lot. Gosh, I think the last 10 years I was actually the most stable in one environment. So all of that variety of
Mm-hmm.
experience, especially in elementary school, when I would speak up about the truths that I thought were true and would get,
I can imagine. I can
criticized,
imagine.
and it embarrassed me. So
Yeah.
I quickly learned how to, I want everybody to like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
what can I say and can't say? And so I learned very early how to navigate conversations. Oh, and then when I was 15, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
And,
Yes.
that is a really good call on, for one, always call people the name that they want to be called, not their birth name, or
Yeah.
because that is the most important word to that person. And then asking questions,
Asking
getting
questions.
curious,
Yes.
being fascinated,
Yes.
not putting, I love the quote, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
There is potential there. So what is it? Even if I have a prejudgment or slap a label on him and stereotype him and walk away, no, 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 no. There is something good there. And now I feel like I want to kind of point back to this other redefinition of religion. It is incorporating our stance, our place
Mm-hmm.
in the cosmos, in infinite eternity. And for me, it's we're all one family. We're
Definitely.
all one cosmic family. And how do you treat those that you love? How do you treat your family? And the more I understand that we're all siblings, the easier it gets to be fascinated and curious about, well, how is your experience different than mine? What if you
Yeah.
know something that I don't know? What can I get from you to incorporate into my life? And then also the discernment process. Oh, well, that doesn't resonate with me, but I love hearing about it
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
And if that's the experience that you have, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Let's keep going in the conversation.
An interesting thought on what you just said, and this is something that I had, a conversation with since we're telling stories, and I love your story, but I agree with you. Traveling and having all this diversity, it's gives you these tools. But one of the things I remember, especially growing up in Mexico, a lot of the faith, it's the pilgrimages, and you would
Mm,
see, especially for the Day of the Virgin of Guadalupe, or maybe they had the like, this little town had to go or goes to this date, right? And go to Mexico City to the Shrine of the Virgin of Guadalupe. And my dad would, they go on their bikes and they go, because it's going into Mexico City. There's a climb,
mm.
it's volcano, so it's high. And my dad would go and say, look at all these poor bastards. And they're just, they're basing something on maybe this. There's a priest probably, and they have the, their shirts or their T-shirts. Yeah, yeah, maybe probably the preacher, not the preacher, the padrecito, or the priest made a buck out of it and sold it. But you can't deny their faith. I mean,
Mm,
even if it's that, even if it, I mean, they're riding that bicycle going over. Maybe you're not, you don't commune on that, you don't like that, but I respect that faith. I even congratulate that faith, and I
yeah,
try to, you know, get a little bit of that faith. If we had a little bit of that faith that these guys had, even if you think it's not maybe a place where who are you to judge, so it gives
yeah.
you, and that's part of the inner awareness that you were saying, outer awareness. And with my father, it's been an interesting, let's put it that way, it's been an interesting journey. And but I think through life, it's been a hard journey, but nowadays, going through that transmutation, that transformation that we're talking about, how you have to go and shed that skin,
Yeah.
you have to keep on doing that all the time. So before we close this segment, I need you to give us a little bit of a list of what you were saying so people can take note of this and be aware. The key here is being aware. And later, at the end, you're going to tell us a little bit of what you can help them with, and what is all about your ministry.
So when you say this awareness, I am searching for something right now that is the notes of these points of moving from the inner world to the outer expression.
Mm-hmm.
So being more in alignment through aware observation and awareness of your inner dialogue. What is that tone? What
Mm-hmm.
are the words that you're
Tone words.
using
Mm-hmm.
in that inner dialogue? How does it feel? How are you feeling inside about it? What's your body going through when you think these thoughts? Do you need to have some cleaning up around that and to feel better in your body? So to be in alignment for that, what did you say, antenna to grasp? I think of an umbilical cord.
Yeah.
It feels like an antenna is like just a one way, and umbilical cord is the symbiotic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I have it direct to God or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
creator. And so definitely getting aware of tone, hue is another word that I
Okay.
think of when I think of that inner life. And the more I share with my creator, even through embarrassment and shame and guilt. And the more I share, the easier and more comforting that is, because then my mind is trained so well to go to what I adore.
And the
And
capacity we have to laugh of ourselves is, the most. It's so liberating. But please
Totally.
continue. Please continue.
Yeah. So then we have, well, and that roots, I'm staying within the inner for a moment.
Yeah.
That intention, what is my intention on the planet? And mine is, how can I live an in alignment life so to serve humanity so I can
Yeah.
play my role in the ascension of the planet. Whatever your intention is, and who I don't nobody can say that except yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so setting that as your, I
Your
guess,
North Star,
refining.
or your guiding,
Yes,
your
the
compass.
compass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So body language, and I think of body language, I used to think of it as meet people where they're at.
Okay.
And that's a popular saying right
Yeah.
now. And that is the start. Yet, if we're really thinking about, and my intention, as you know, uplifting the planet, so why would I sit in a meet someone where they're at if they're sitting in a, you know, mud puddle?
Yeah, and that's something very important. You don't have to. You don't have to, if you don't need, if you don't want to. There's no need to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, and, uh, so then when I think of meeting someone where they're at, yes, do that. And keep with my intention of raising the frequency.
Hmm.
So not getting in their downward spiral, yet holding my own,
Yeah.
standing in my own. And I can only say that because I am. I'm a people pleaser. I love people. I love doing things and caring. Yet I got taken advantage. So I've had to really learn to stand on my
Where
own.
to set your
Hold,
bounds, your boundaries.
yeah,
Sorry.
set boundaries and know that slowly, if that person is open and willing. If they're not,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are just fine wherever they
You keep
are.
on
And it's,
loving them, still.
yeah, keep loving them. And this also came out in that first podcast of not interfering with someone else's growth.
Yeah.
I think, and I've had, as such a pleaser, caring individual, I always wanted to figure out how to fix things,
Mm.
and
I
so
learned,
now I'm
yeah, I learned
learning.
that in the hard way with when I had my rock band, because
Yeah,
I mean, I had, I was semi-professional in Mexico, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And, with the guys, that we were a band, we were brothers, and that's where you had to, just leave them be. I was,
yeah,
very anal and all, always on top, and do this, do that. And I realized, you know what? Leave them be. Everybody, it's not that my method is better, their method is better.
yeah,
We have each our own method. So leave them
yeah,
be and leave them happy.
yes. And for me, be the shining light, be the beacon.
Yeah,
If they catch a glimpse of it and want to know, then I'm here to have a conversation.
exactly.
And if they're not, it's fine. We're all on this beautiful experimental planet doing our own investigation. And so as we continue with this list, this tone of voice that you're using in your inner
Yeah,
dialogue and tone of voice in a particular conversation in the outer world. And the more I get conscious and aware of how I'm expressing outward, and if it's, I immediately get like a oh, well that's not in alignment.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm finally at a point now where I can catch myself right in the moment and say, hey, that wasn't what I meant. I don't know where
Which is
that came from.
important. Which is important. At first, you catch yourself afterwards, and you say, "Oh shoot, I shouldn't have said that. I should have done that." Then you catch yourself at the moment, doing it, and then before you say, "Just beware that you don't go into this space that you don't want to go to."
The quicker that turnaround is,
Yeah,
the better, because it's not lingering in a lower frequency field.
yeah, yeah.
So so turn it around, as quick as you can, it
Something, yeah,
may.
I agree, and I was gonna say it needs its time. Some things to take longer, some take shorter, but I think it needs its time. But you do, it's like when you exercise. At first you're gonna be really sore. The first time you go to the gym, you can't lift weights the next day,
I
but
love that analogy, yeah.
and then and you feel good, you look good, and your whole composition is
Mhm.
good, and that's the idea, you
Yeah.
know?
And so that then is closely associated with your body language and reading the other person's body language and getting acutely aware of if there's a moment in the conversation where you pause and you say, "Hey, do you want to take some time and circle back around?"
Yeah,
And that energetic frequency within all of that tone and body language, well, especially, I mean, in challenging conversations. I mean,
uh,
that's really where a
yeah.
bulk of our growth
Uh,
and investigation and experimentation. Yeah, you can find it in the joyful and the cheerful and
but
the
and the other
and
one is where it's put to test. That's where you really have to perform, right?
yeah. And now I immediately feel the disharmony
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
lovingly,
The uneasiness, maybe. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I think of it like an malaligned frequency,
yeah, yeah,
and of who I would rather or am ambitiously intending to um refine my character.
yeah,
And this pause, it usually is not a comfortable thing,
yeah. No, it's
and
not.
that's another thing of really getting comfortable in discomfort.
Yeah,
I love that vision of, all right, I'm standing in me and my relationship with my creator. It is firm and unwavering,
yeah,
and I can at any moment be this for another person, and if that situation needs to have a pause, then that's a beautiful moment to
yeah,
share, whether it's a silence or even walking away from the conversation altogether.
yeah.
However, with the caveat of the agreement that you return to that conversation,
Okay.
because anything that is in disharmony is going to stay
Yeah,
disharmonic until it's met again. And that is actually something that I think about the ascension of not only the planet, yet the entire cosmos. And honestly, I think that that is one of the things that if humanity understood about eternal, infinite time and space, that we're not so um, blocked or bound into only this life. If
yeah.
we can think beyond this
Beyond,
life
yeah,
and the growth potential that we have. In fact, I think that this is embryonic stage. We're not even birthed
yeah,
yet.
yeah. Exactly. It's the same thing as the piece in the and or the tree in the forest or the piece in the puzzle, and once you have, you can't just from little piece, you have to put it all, and you have to stand back and understand it. It's the same thing with time and the eternal career. I mean, it's
Mm.
eternal. This is just the beginning. And